이제 내가 한국말로
제가 영어로 대답.
그렇지. 내가 한국말로 물을 테니까 저 영어로 대답하면 돼.
오케이.
Thank you. Roll of Thunder 이 책을 읽었는데 이 이야기의 주인공은 누구예요?
The main character in the story is Cassie. Cassie Logan.
어떤 사람이야? 보통 소개 좀 할 수 있나?
She is the oldest girl, I'm pretty sure, in the Logan family, and she's obviously part of the Logan family, which owns a big part of the land, but it's occupied by mostly white people around the territory, so they're always constantly under pressure.
이 스토리는 언제, 어떤 시기에 어느 지역에서 벌어졌나요?
This story was mostly in the 1900s when there's racism and civil rights movements, and it was I don't exactly remember where it took place, but it was for sure a place where racism and the relationship between white people and colored people were the best.
로간 가족에게 땅이 왜 그렇게 중요한가?
Their authority to have the power over their land gave them the chances to make their own decisions. So they didn't have to kind of abide against what the white people wanted them to do. They could buy what they wanted to do. They can use their own land to basically have responsibility of their actions. So if they didn't have the land, they would always have big pressure under the white people, and that would reduce their freedom to make their own decisions.
백인 아이들이 타는 스쿨 버스에 대해서 로건 아이들이 어떤 장난을 쳤어?
Well, it first started off when whenever the Logans went to school, the white bus would always go in front of them, and they would splash them in one of the scenes, and the Logans were not happy about it, and they were really mad. And as the Logans were splashed, the white people were calling the Logans names, and they were showing real racism and some consequences between them. But later on, the Logans would do revenge on them by making a ditch hole in between the road, and when the white bus would go by, it would fall into the hole, and the Logans would be happy to see the white people struggling.
미스터 모리손이 누군가? 그리고 왜 로건 가족하고 함께 살게 되었어?
Pass. I forgot this part.
So let's pass it. 그 다음에 이제 그 캐릭터, 인물을 분석하고 이제 또 이 주제, theme을 분석하는 이야기인데 캐시는 그 마을에서 어떤 일을 겪게 되고 인종차별을 어떻게 깨닫게 됐어요?
Well, first off, when Cassie didn't really realize what racism really was, she mostly stayed inside of her house, getting most of the protection from her parents and avoiding most of the conflicts with white people. But as she got older and she got more confident around her social environment, she and her friends with TJ, her younger brothers, and her older brother Stacy, they seemed to understand what racism was, especially in Strawberry, where they had a consequence with Mr. Barnett, a store owner from Strawberry. They wanted to buy an object, but then Mr. Barnett had some consequences with them, and they kind of understood. I mean, with Mr. Barnett, their consequence was they tried to order something, but then Mr. Barnett he didn't take their order and took a white person's order instead, and the Logans were really mad about it because all they needed was their order, but Mr. Barnett would go to someone else. So that cycle was keep repeating, and the Logans were fed enough with it. And after coming home with a bunch of a lot of negative actions and some, I think, physical what do you call them? Physical interactions. Cassie understands what kind of racism really was in her community and tells her mom about it. By what I remember.
두 사람, TJ 그리고 스테이시, 이 두 사람의 성격하고 행동을 한번 비교해봐.
Well, TJ's really energetic, and he grew up with a lot of poverty, and his family isn't as rich and wealthy, and he always tries to get attentions from his friends. While Stacy, he's the oldest of the Logan family, and has a lot of authority over his siblings. So he has most of the responsibility of where he takes his siblings, and he's kind of like the bossy person. So he makes the decisions for his siblings.
엄마가 로건 부인인데 학교에서 왜 위험을 무릅쓰고 진짜 역사를 가르쳤을까?
Well, during this time, most of the colored students, they didn't really realize what racism really was and how they really affect their lives. And they weren't really taught of how bad white people really were since they were really young, and they didn't really have a developed mindset and a historical connection between them. So it was really important for the mother to teach them about real history, because if they knew what white people really did to them, they would reflect off of that history to make better decisions for themselves, to rebel against the white people. Not really rebel, but make decisions against them in a safer way. So they won't have to endure and suffer like what most colored people did back then.
로건 가족은 인종차별과 부당한 상황에 어떻게 대응했어?
Well, one of the parts with the kids, with Cassie, I don't really remember with adults because I kind of forgot about that. But with the kids, most of their responses to those bad actions was with violence and and they really expressed the violence. I mean, they really expressed the what do you call it? So the younger ones, they basically didn't know how to correctly resist against the white people. So they didn't know how to do it. So all they would do was start yelling. And they would what they would do would just complain because they didn't know how to rebel against them. But later on, for example, for Cassie, she understands that it's not the best strategy to physically or try to talk her way out. So she later on discovers that it's not the best to complain.
TJ가 선택한 것, 그리고 그 선택 때문에 발생한 consequence, 결과, 이 결과를 통해서 친구 관계하고 충성심에 대해서 배울 수 있는 게 뭔가?
Towards the end of the book, I remember when TJ decided to become friends with, I'm pretty sure, Mr. Barnett's sons, I'm pretty sure. So he kind of decided to team up with the white people for, I don't remember the reason, but after that, Cassie and her siblings, the Logans, discover that. And they think that TJ is a traitor against them. So that really tears apart their friendship for a long time. But they later realized that TJ was doing that just because he wanted attention, and these white kids he was friends with, were giving him attention, but in a bad way. They were basically using him to do bad stuff, which I'm not really sure if this connects, but to kind of rob the Barnett store, I'm pretty sure, where they used TJ in order to steal stuff. So one catch there, something I'll learn for TJ is probably to to be careful with your environment, to choose wisely who you're going to become friends with, because if you're in an environment or if you make friends with a person who doesn't support you, or who has a mindset different from yours and that goes in a negative direction, it's important to not be friends with those and instead choose a relationship that actually benefits you in the future. Because what happens with TJ with the white kids, TJ was brainwashed and tricked by the white kids just because for attention. But TJ needed to realize that true relationship comes with real bonds that really can benefit him to a more positive outcome from the present.
이 소설이 언제 쓰여졌어? 대충?
Somewhere in the 1960s, in the later 1900s, I'm guessing.
그러니까 이제 그 당시의 사회 환경하고 지금은 차이가 많은데, 이 소설이 지금 우리 살고 있는 이 시대에 주는 교훈이 뭐라고 생각해?
A lesson that I think reflects off of the story and the current is that many kids right now in our generation, I would say, most of the young people don't realize how serious it was back then with slavery and the result after slavery of racism and a lot of negative interactions between the white people and the colored people, and that used to result in a lot of historical context between how those interactions really made a difference into our future. So I feel like by this book and really realizing how those experiences affected Cassie, her family, their responsibility and power, I think it really gives a big impact to many kids in our generation so far, which gives them a past memory of how how racism could really affect their lives, which in our generation right now, most kids don't realize, because our generation, our world today, everybody's together and there's a lot less racism in the world today.
그래. 1984 by George Orwell. Theme and plot. Please go ahead. 해봐.
I think the theme is basically living in conformity of a tyrannous government and having one person decide what society will or will not be is a basically recipe for human destruction. I think that the plot was to explain what it would be like if everybody was brainwashed and led to believe that only one thing was set for society, how letting everybody be, led to think that one man's word should overcome another's, and how everybody living in a set style where no nobody can make their own decisions, where everything is set for everyone to follow, where everyone's lived in this confined one-way road where basically nobody can make their own decision in fear of what someone else will tell them will be really bad for everybody.
지금 지구에는 이런 나라가 있는 것 같아요, 없는 것 같아요?
있어요.
어느 나라?
The U.S.
어떻게?
Well, I don't want to be political,
아, 그래.
but
어.
basically we are doing everything for this one group of people where everything is twisted just for all of our materials and money to go to this 1% of the rich.
아, 이제 have class하고 have not class가
네.
separated.
There is a huge gap between the worker class and the upper class,
아,
I feel. And it's not fair.
그래. 그래. 그다음, what is the plot of the book?
Of the book, it's how this one man, he finds out that, wow, this society we're living in is not okay. It's been twisted, and this isn't what it should be. Basically seeing through the veil of lies that everyone's been telling him, and just seeing that it's all propaganda, something that he shouldn't believe. How knowledge and the past has been covered up just to make a new one where everything is controlled.
이 책을 읽은 게 몇 학년 때였어?
I was in 7th grade.
7th grade. 중1. 근데 아직도 vivid memory.
네, 이 책을 되게 좋아해.
아, 그랬어? abbreviate.
To shorten or to separate. In a sentence, in abbreviation of a state in the United States, Georgia would be GA, and a synonym would be shorten.
abdicate.
I don't know that one.
abduct.
To take away. To take away. A child had been abducted from a local park.
abortive.
Abortive. I feel like abort, to get rid of or throw off. The captain aborted his mission.
abrasive.
Abrasive, a rough thing.
abscond.
I don't know that one.
absolution.
Don't know that one.
abstain.
Don't know.
absurd.
No, that one. That is out of place, basically.
Abundance.
To have a lot of something.
Accrue.
I don't know.
Accumulate.
To gather a lot of something.
Accusation.
To frame someone for doing something.
Something wrong.
Something wrong.
Acerbic.
Don't know.
Acquiescence.
I don't know that one.
Acrimonious.
I don't know that one.
Acumen.
Mm-mm.
Adjacent.
Adjacent. I know that in math. I'm not sure what the definition would be though.
Adjudicate.
I don't know that one.
Adroit.
Don't know that one.
Advantage.
To have something to your greatest
Interest.
interest.
Advocate.
Advocate. To stand up in something, what you believe in. Or what you think is right.
Affectation.
I don't think I have that one.
Aggravate.
To make something worse.
Alteration.
Alteration. To I can't say alter because it's part of the word. To change something.
Altruistic.
Altruistic. I don't think I know that.
Ambivalent.
I don't know that one. I have a lot to learn.
Amiable.
Amiable. Not sure.
Amnesty.
Amnesty. Heard of it, but I don't know what it
Mhm.
means.
Amorphous. Amplify.
Amplify. To make something bigger.
Who is the Thunderhead and what role does it play in the world?
So essentially the Thunderhead, I think it's an AI entity that people created to care for them. And essentially it led them off of the brink of extinction, and it kind of nurtures them and helps them throughout their daily life and their but I think that's
Number 2. What is Rowan Damisch doing in the Thunderhead?
Rowan Damisch, he's kind of like one of the main characters. So his background is he was essentially selected to be an apprentice of a scythe, but I haven't completely finished the first book. I just read part of the second book, so I don't completely know what happens. But to my understanding, he wasn't selected to be a scythe. He was mainly an apprentice. Then I don't know what happens next, but I know then his viewpoint is that people who try to corrupt what they call the scythedom should be gleaned or killed. So people are kind of out for him. He's like a villain with good intentions, but he can't exactly approach the Thunderhead since there's like a law saying that Scythes and like the Thunderhead, they can't mingle. So I don't think Rowan Damish really approaches the Thunderhead.
Number 3. How has Citra Terranova changed since becoming Scythe Anastasia?
I feel like as Citra Terranova, she has like, she's like a normal human being, you know. She has her own insecurities, her own worries, but when she becomes Scythe Anastasia, I think that's how you pronounce it, she's determined to be more like, you know, I guess not exactly intimidating, but she wants to be someone who seems like doesn't have any worries or troubles. But I can't say for sure. I have to keep on reading to.
Number 4. Just do as much as you can.
Yeah.
Okay? Try your best. This is the first time for us doing it. Number 4. What is the significance of Grayson Tolliver in this book?
It may be also part of the third book, but Grayson Tolliver was essentially someone who the Thunderhead called special, because he kind of sacrificed his own ordinary life to save the life of Scythe Anastasia and Curie, I think, which kind of led to a spiral downward of his life, leading to him kind of becoming an unsavory or someone who can't come in contact with the Thunderhead anymore. And after that, his life just kind of went downward to the point where, again, he saved Scythe Anastasia and Scythe Curie's life, but it made other Scythes want to glean him because they thought he was like the villain. So that led to him joining a Tonist's monastery